These verses complete the description of the creation of the five major elements, Panchabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and also describing how one has come from the other by interaction, sound interacting with ether makes air interacting with touch generates fire, then form interacting with fire creates the water element, and the water element's quality is intrinsic quality of water is a sense of taste. So the taste and the water interact, it produces the next smell, and from which the earth comes. So this is a sequence in which the things come about. And sound also has a source, sky has a source also. Sky is ether and earth, ether and sound. Sound is a quality of ether. So the sound, beyond that, how did the sound come? Or how did the sky come? That is there when it goes to subtle energy of Mahatattva, Pradhana, when it goes, then from that the gross element comes. So now the basic the qualities of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and how they are interrelated has been explained by Kapila Deva in these following verses. And also how we can perceive these five elements in our daily life, starting from how fire can be experienced, fire in terms of digestion, etc., etc. So all these way of perception of these five elements is described in terms of perception and not in terms of so-called objective qualities. They are qualities when they interact with the perceiver. What kind of taste, different kinds of taste, all these kind of things. Just like in the classification, in the study of matter by physicists, they don't have a meaning. They don't have a meaning. Meaning is for living entities. They don't have a meaning. Only living entities can sense meaning. So there is no, in modern physics, there is no, in their language, even in chemistry, in their language, taste has no meaning. It is only a chemical. It has no meaning. Touch has no meaning. So, meaning elements, sense of touch, smell, taste, and the variegated taste, variegated smell, these are all considered to be the elements that form this material world. Whereas modern science does not have this understanding at all, they do not know how to classify, there is no perception at all of taste. They will give, they can say what is the difference between a sour taste and a bitter taste by chemically analyzing this chemical is different from that chemical. But why the taste comes, that is not. So they are not interested in that, they cannot approach that subject. The very same scientist who is studying, let's say he studies sugar. His entire science does not have anything, even symbolically, to represent sweetness of sugar. He'll say it is glucose. But the reality is that there is sugar as sweetness. Full knowledge means somewhere you should have symbolized in your science, in your so-called science, you should symbolize sweetness. And quantity of sweetness is also there or not. Something is very sweet, something is less sweet. So there is quantification also there. But you don't have in your science how to symbolize sweetness, how to quantify sweetness, and its interaction with my senses in terms of perceived sweetness. All these things are. So therefore, the modern science, which is based on a gross mapping of the material world, is not enough to explain the knowledge. Means it should explain everything. So it is not a complete knowledge-based system of knowledge, the modern sciences. So that is why even the physical universe itself, which they are talking about, they cannot explain even that. There itself they are getting bewildered. What to speak of introducing other semantic elements. Semantic means meaning. Meaning elements of things. When I say a pen, I think of a pen and I think of the function of the pen as writing. And in which science it is represented? It cannot be represented at all. Pen, they will say it is a plastic. They will say there is ink in it, there is chemical in it. They reduce everything to chemicals. The same mistake they do by reducing everything to chemicals, by saying that life, baby is born, life has come, is all due to the combination of different chemicals. No doubt the chemical combination has an impact on starting life, but the life itself is another element which comes into those combination of that Panchabhuta body based on some other higher laws of karma, Daiva by Daiva Nitrena, by divine arrangement. All these things are happening by higher laws. Also in some places it is said, even when this transformation is happening from one sky to air to water, air to fire, fire to water, water to earth, when that is happening, it is there is an involvement of according to destiny, Daive Rathad, according to destiny, these formations are happening because there is a force of the previous Shrishti, and when everything it gets dissolved, that force remains, and that it is that force that continues when the next creation comes. So at all the places, even this is not a physical formation from sky, how air comes. There is another element other than this, a personal element coming into it, which is also required to convert it. Again, from one to the other, when it expands, you need the other elements. Daiva Choditat, again it says here, due to the interaction of water and taste perception, the subtle element, etc., etc. Daiva Choditat, by a superior arrangement. So not by itself it does not happen, all these things. So everywhere there is an involvement of the Supreme Lord in one form or the other. And then next verse onwards, it is about the universal egg, how the Lord is starting his creation as he takes up the incarnation of the universal form, Virat Rupa of the Lord, Virat Purusha. The next few verses are about that. So, all these details, obviously within a few verses, we cannot form a complete picture of the material universes. For the simple reason that the material universes are inconceivable by our tiny senses. Only some principles with respect to our purpose of existence, our growth, spiritual growth, what is relevant to our spiritual growth, which is definitely with all the matters pertaining to how you see, touch, smell, all these things. Only that much is necessary for us to know about this Brahmanda and a bigger picture. How in detail, how all these things happen, like the cosmologists are trying to understand. We don't need to understand all those things for the simple reason that it is very complicated. The proof of the fact that it is very complicated is very common, it's just common sense. Look at the sky in the night. I can't figure out why all those stars exist and what is all those things. It doesn't make any difference. Out of millions of stars, one star disappears. Life doesn't change on the earth. Right? Millions of stars. It's shocking. Everything in existence should have a creation. Scientists at least give this impression that see, everything has a meaning, everything has a meaning. There is a cause, there is a meaning, they study. Tell them what is the cause for all those planets, why all those planets are required. If everything is man-centered, human-centered, it's only for me. For me it is all irrelevant, I don't even look at the sky. So man tends to think the creation is made for us. The world exists for me. But the real fact is that you exist for the world. The entire earth is existing for the world in a larger scheme of things. And every planet is existing for somebody else. So somebody else's plan, God's plan, God's scheme of things, and God is infinite. No, we cannot try to understand God's life. His opulent life we cannot understand. His rasa life we can understand. Because he makes himself amenable to us. And rasa means interpersonal relationship. We will be able to relate with him. But if you want to relate with his extraordinary powers, we cannot understand at all. What are the kind of energies that he has got? What are the kind of transformation those energies undergo? We cannot conceive. Material scientists themselves are so bewildered by all these things. Those days are gone when science is to talk as if we know everything. Those days are gone. The last 100 years those days are gone. Before 1900, if you see, or before that, for about 3 centuries, everybody thought that, okay, we are understanding the universe, we got everything together. We know why everything, we got everything. So science became like God. Science became the religion. And that after effect is continuing in the population last 100 years. But among the top scientists, there is no, science itself has melted out. Science started as studying the truth. What is the true cause behind it, and studying the truth. Science started like this. Now scientists, if you are very top level scientists, if you ask, are you studying truth, they will say no. Because truth is a belief, they will say. They come to that conclusion. Because there is nothing like truth. There is only reality. We are studying reality. Why do they say that? I am studying what appears to me, but what it really is, I do not know, I am not interested. Science started by saying, I want to know what really is matter. Okay, oh, it's made up of atoms. Oh, what is really proton? Went inside. Neutron, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? You're going in deeper, centuries are going on, the decades and decades are going on. And each time they thought, at least it began like that. When the scientists discovered that inside a copper sheet, there are, negatively charged, positively charged particles, all these things. In the 1900s, when Rutherford performed that experiment, where the radioactive, the rays deflected and he caught in a film, say, hey, wait, there is some, that means there is a negative charge inside. And then he created the first model of atom. Oh, atom like a ball he created. And inside there are studded, it was not rotating at all, studded with electrons. So there is negatively charged particle, there is positively charged particle within this. So he created the structure of atom. Then the whole world was excited about it. And then today they say there is nothing like, electron, proton, it's only an equation, it's only an energy. What exists, why are you looking at what exists? Because nothing exists according to them, only energy exists. Only energy exists. And what does our Vedic understanding say? This material world is only three guna, it's only quality. Sometimes we also tend to, the material, the Shastras is talking about the material world is about three gunas. Entire material world is made of three gunas, you say. The solid things are all actually, the gross things are tamoguna. So it's actually ultimately three gunas, we say. So if you're in the science background and you come and try to understand, okay, the whole Shastra is talking about everything is based on three gunas. Gunas means quality. And that is what today scientists have come to establish, that we are only studying qualities. We are not studying substances. What is the ultimate substance? No. If there is a wood, it is a quality again. Wood, the stable is not a substance. The stable is a quality of energy. Therefore, a certain set of qualities, I call it a stable, table. And so in other words, this is called scientific realism. So they have gone from objective truth. Newton and Aristotle, all these people originally start with seeking truth. Philosophy was the origin of science. That is why even today, in science, when you get a degree, you get PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. You have done research in physics, but why are you getting Doctor of Philosophy? You do chemistry also, you get PhD. PhD means Doctor of Philosophy. Philosophy. So philosophy was the origin of science. Why? Because philosophy is originally about seeking truth. And now one 360 degrees they come around and they have said that truth cannot be found. We are not searching, we are not studying truth. We are studying effects. What is truth? It's beyond science. So when anything beyond science, they'll say it's imagination. Your thinking was always wrong, they will say, that you are looking for truth. It was an illusory chase. But ultimately, all this understanding is only confusing them more and more, and it's very good for us that they're all thoroughly confused. Big scientists. Because in childhood what we think, when we are young we think, oh, science and scientists, they know everything. We tend to think they know everything. But actually they don't know anything. About one multiverse, I tell you. Yes, the other day I was talking about multi-universes and all. This is one recent article, multiverse. Multiverse is a short form for multi-universe theory. Multiverse. Have astronomers found evidence of parallel universes? I'll read this. It shows that how big brains, how the more they understand, the more they study this earth, study the universe, the more they become bewildered. The more you learn something, you should get more enlightened. That is a path of knowledge. Here is a path of knowledge. The more you learn, the more you become ignorant. That itself shows that this is not the path of knowledge. But for some years, about 200 years it went on, as if it's a path of enlightenment. After that, gone crazy. After 1900, nothing they understand. The two places they get stuck. One is at the subatomic level. Another is at the cosmic level, cosmology. So cosmology and theoretical physics, they are going crazy. And even though in terms of truth they are going crazy, in the process of digging out truth, they are finding some realism, some real relationship between atom and this and energy and all these things, and they are creating effects. Like electricity is an effect, atomic energy is an effect, semiconductor is an effect, electronic technology is an effect. All these are effects that was originally people were chasing truth. And from physics, then it came to applied physics, then it came to engineering, comes to engineering, and they are utilizing all this. Because of these are producing all these effects. Mobiles and this and that, all these effects are produced, and man has so much faith in science. Actually, man should have faith in technology, not in science. They should have faith in technology. So much, there's no accurate thinking in all these things. So people think that they are very scientific. How foolish they are. They think that they are intellectuals. We don't believe in God. We are intellectuals. You're all like, belief and all these kind of things. Science has found so many things now. Where is this? Like this kind of debates. They ask this kind of questions as if they are one up from all the people who are religious. We are not religious. We are thinkers. And where is their thinking strength coming from? From the science. And that fellow will be a journalist. He doesn't know anything about science. That means as a journalist, he has got blind belief in science. Whereas the real scientists who are handling this science, they are saying that we are bewildered. Have astronomers found evidence of parallel universes? Just read the language. Too many these past 12 months seems as if we have already slipped into a parallel universe. They call it the multiverse. It's a cosmos in which there are multiple universes. Aklanta Kodi Brahmanda. And by multiple I mean an infinite number. These uncountable realms set side by side in higher dimensions that our senses are incapable of perceiving directly. According to mathematics itself, it's in a higher dimension. Yet increasingly astronomers and cosmologists seem to be invoking the multiverse to explain puzzling observations. See, these are all not merely physics, mathematics. Somewhere they see some connection in reality, and that becomes the evidence. The stakes are high. Each alternate universe carries its own different version of reality. It sounds bonkers when the latest piece of evidence that could favor a multiverse comes from UK's Royal Astronomical Society. They recently published a study on the so-called cold spot. This is a particularly cool patch of space seen in the radiation produced by formation of the universe more than 13 billion years ago. The cold spot was first glimpsed by NASA's WMAP satellite in 2004 and then confirmed by ESA's Planck mission in 2013. It is supremely puzzling. Most astronomers and cosmologists believe that it is highly unlikely to have been produced by the birth of the universe, as it is mathematically difficult for leading theory, which is called inflation, to explain. The latest study claims to rule out a last-ditch prosaic explanation that the cold spot is an optical illusion produced by a lack of intervening galaxies. One of the studies authors Tom Shanks of Durham University said, we can't entirely rule out that the spot is caused by an unlikely fluctuation explained by the standard theory of Big Bang. But if that isn't the answer, then there are more exotic explanations. Perhaps the most exciting of this is the cold spot was caused by a collision between our universe and another bubble universe. If further more detailed analysis proves this to be the case, then this cold spot might be taken as the first evidence of multiverse. Heady stuff. But the irony is that if there is a multi-universe, scientists will have to accept that the ultimate goal of physics to explain why our universe is the way it is could be forever out of reach. Yeah? The end game of physics has been to provide the reason why our universe takes the form it does. To do this, it must explain why certain fundamental quantities have values they do. For example, speed of light, mass of electron, strength of gravitational interaction. If there is a multiverse, however, that quest could be doomed to failure. Just as there are infinite number of similar yet slightly different universes. Like this it goes on. They are talking in terms of, science reaching a dead end. You cannot go further. Now there is a belief. Today we have not found out everything. But as the science progresses, everything can be found out and everything can be understood by science, by man. But he is saying that the end game for physics has to provide the reason why our universe takes its form. To do this, it must explain those constants. If there is a multiverse, the quest could be doomed to failure. That means you come to a stage where you can actually say that you can never understand everything about the universe, even mathematically. Because infinity comes everywhere. This is all play of infinity. Multiverse is infinite universes are there. Put this way, a multiverse doesn't sound attractive. It could cut to the very heart of physics' purpose. Nature, of course, doesn't care about this. Maybe the cosmos really is this way and we have to accept it. Certainly, there are many who are willing to defend the multiverse as a valid direction for thought. Comfortingly, if we do live in a multi-universe, we can be assured that somewhere there is an alternative version of you and me that have already figured all this out and won a Nobel Prize. So there's everything, Krishna's, Maya is just bewildering the scientists. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.